Good morning, everyone. As said, today I will introduce you one of the leading figure of the Zero Group through the story of his life and through the conservation project of the Grosse Spirale. Gunther Uecker is a German artist best known for his artworks made with nails. He was born in 1930 in Wentworth, but he spent his childhood near the Baltic Sea at Ostrov. In the run-up to the Second World War, this area became a test ground for Germany's fighter jets and rockets, until the area was captured by Soviet troops in April 1945 and then used as a military base. Growing during the Second World War in a military zone, he experienced the suffering of the war and dictatorship. Intensely and difficult times that left an indelible mark on the artist's life. In the same year, also his father was transferred in another military base, and when the Russians arrived on the island, he was alone with his mother and sisters. During an interview, he told how the Russian soldiers used to go to houses in groups. This is an important quote to read because it's significant for Uecker's life and his art, because it tells us how and why he started to use nails. And it says, "So I made wooden panels from the inside in front of all of the windows and doors of our house and nailed everything. That's how I started nailing. The Russians were standing outside and they started to bump at the door and windows, but they didn't come in. I protect my family very well. I remember I was proud of me." Although he grown up in times dominated by death and suffering, in Uecker's life the desire to make art have been always with him as way to change and shape the reality. His life changed in 1955 when he left the German Democratic Republic to reach the West Germany. With the help of Otto Bangkok in 1955, he started to study art at the Düsseldorf Art Academy, where he cultivated a strong interest in meditative practices and purification rituals, and became fascinated with the philosophy of Buddhism, Taoism, and Islam. This is another important quote that tells us his feeling about the academic art. When he was a student and he was drawing a naked model, at some point everything started to be alive for him. And he remembered a Majakovsky quote says, "Poetry is made with hammer," and he stuck the pencil into the paper. That was realism for him. So by 1957, he had begun to integrate nails in his artworks. He also incorporates objects such as stone, glass, cloth, and other media, using these simple materials to create works of art with the poetic spirit of order and chaos, creation and destruction. His interest about purification rituals, such as the Gregorian chant, led him to engage rituals of repetition. For example, the hammering of nails for extended periods of time. Also, the aggressive act of hammering nails into planks to shelter his family inspired Uecker to embed his wartime experience into his work. In this sense, the nail symbolized the paradox of healing by hurting. Studying in Düsseldorf, he had the opportunity to meet Heinz Mark and Otto Bien, who founded the Zero Group, which he formally joined in 1961. Zero was born from the desire to move away from subjective post-war movements and give a new life of the European art using new materials and new ways to expression. Now I want to show you the first minutes of an interview to understand Uecker's philosophy.
Also das mich Befremdende hat eine sehr große Faszination. Sich dem auszusetzen, was einen erschüttert und auch in einen Ekel treibt, in Ablehnung und Verwirrung, in all diesen, in diesen Empfindungen, man sich selbst begegnet im Zweifel des vermeintlichen Schutzes, der nicht mehr gewährleistet ist, wenn man so bereit ist wie ich, sich dem Befremdenden auszusetzen. Und das, was da mich anrührt, ist dann wie ein Lichtschlitz, der es mir erlaubt, Einblick zu gewinnen in eine Welt, die mir eben fremd ist und auch bleibt, aber ein Zugang ist ermöglicht durch die Akzeptanz und der Respekt vor den anderen Menschen, die so andersartig sich verhalten, auch durch ihre Geschichte geprägt, nicht nur durch ihre kulturelle Herkunft, sondern auch durch dramatische Geschichte von schrecklichen Ereignissen, dass durch diese Verletzungen, die die Menschen erfahren haben, Verbindungen möglich sind, dass man über das spricht, was einen zutiefst beschämt, was einen verletzt durch Wörter wie auch durch Taten, wie in Kriegen, und dass da eine fast unalphabetische Gefühlswelt sich auftut, sich dem anderen nähern zu können, durch die Akzeptanz seiner Andersartigkeit und durch durch den Versuch, sich selbst zu überwinden in seiner Prägung, in seinen Vorurteilen. Und so sind Begegnungen möglich, die dann im Bildnerischen, also unalphabetisch, in meinen Werken Ausdruck finden. Nicht? Da, wo man es augenfällig macht und wo es auch ablesbar ist.
The artist arrived in Dublin because in 1967 Gunther Uecker was selected for Grosse with the Grosse Spirale made in the same year. In the absence of a museum of modern art in Dublin between 1967 and 1988 took place a series of exhibitions. The purpose of the ROSC was to display international modern and contemporary art. The first ROSC exhibition set out to show the work of the 50 best living artists. And after the exhibition, the Ullane Gallery acquired Uecker's artwork in 1968 through the donation of the Friends of the National Collection of Ireland. This is the Grosse Spirale, and now we'll show you the problems and the solution we adopt to restore the artwork. The artwork in general is composed by 4 elements: a supporting structure, canvas, a paint layer, and nails. The supporting structure is a chipboard panel that is an agglomerate of wood particles obtained by various species of wood. On this panel, the artist glued and anchored a white cotton canvas with stemples on the back, and the entire front of the work is painted with a white emulsion, probably acrylic paint, including the nails once they were inserted into the panel. It seems also that the artist sprayed the paint film from the top to the bottom, because on the back of the nails and also on the canvas under the nails we can find the paint layer. The work is composed of a tightly organized pattern of thin iron nails, approximately 7,000, with small heads set into the wooden panel, forming a spiral with internal wave patterns. The supporting structure and the canvas do not present particular conservation problems. However, tears are present in the lower right corner, and there are holes in the upper left side of the canvas. Also, a deposit of particles and iron oxide particulates is diffused on the surface of the paint film, but the element that presents the most conservative problems is the metal. The work has been preserved in an unsuitable environment, and the metal in constant contact with the high humidity, which together with oxygen has started the oxidation process of the metal, causing structural damage. This led to the formation of iron oxides and basic carbonates of a reddish-brown color that cause the detachment of the pictorial film of the nails. Over the year, some nails have been lost and replaced with some new nails completely different from the original one. To manage this conservation project, we consulted and we had the pleasure of hearing the opinions of various experts and restorers. We are also in contact with Jacob Uecker, the son of the artist, and we have some emails sent to the artist in 1986. Through this, we understood that the degradation of the nails was not intentional. And after listening the different opinions of all the experts and considering Uecker's words, we decide to not repaint the nails or replace them. Instead, we are removing the dust and the most superficial rust, and we will retouch only the looses with reversible materials. We cannot change the original matters of the artwork because even the matter itself can be the vehicle of a message. Even if the artist has indicated exactly the type of material used, it may be that type of material is no longer available, and it must be replaced with something similar in appearance. This, however, will never be the same, and therefore will tell a different story. So we cannot make the nails or the canvas look like new, but instead we could focus on trying to slow down the process of degradation. And this is basically the thought behind the practical act of the restoration. To select a cleaning solution, at first we made some solubility test to see the solvents to avoid. And because we are working with a modern paint emulsion, we cannot use some polar solvents such as the ethanol or acetone. By comparing the results of the solubility test, we decide to try those solution. We did not try the solution of the artwork, but we used rusted and painted iron nails as samples to see the effects of the different cleaning methods. At the end, we decide to use triammonium citrate to remove the superficial iron and dust. To limit the contact with water, the solution has been used in a gel made by agar. And this is the application of the gel over the nails. In this picture, you can see the difference between the cleaned part and the dusted part. Here it's the artwork, which on the right side you can see, of course, the not cleaned part, and on the left side the cleaned part. And for what concern the cleaning of the canvas paint layer, we measure the pH and the conductivity of the paint surface in different points to find the solution to remove only the superficial dust. And those ones are the tests we made for cleaning the canvas paint layer. And at the end, in according also with the pH and the conductivity results, we decide to use adjusted water with pH 6 and conductivity at 6 microsiemens. In this picture, you can see the preparation of the solution and the cleaning test. In those one, you can see the process of the cleaning. And in the last one, you can see clearly the cleaned area in the middle. After the cleaning, we repaid the tear, gluing with Tillo's glue the broken threads where possible, or adding a piece of fabric when the canvas was missing. And this is the result, the final result. For the retouching, we tried different paint on samples, and at the end we decided to use watercolor for retouching the missing paint layer. In those pictures, you can see the area with the nails with the missing paint layer, and on the right you can see the results of the retouching. And at the end, we removed the nails added during the previous restoration, and we replaced them with some nails that are more similar to the original ones. And this is the artwork at the end of the restoration process. Thank you so much for your attention. Now, if you have any question, I'm here. I will be here to answer. Thank you.